All right, let's play a game. Kalia's mama, Felicia. What is the hardest part about night shift and staying up all night to you?
Oh goodness. Okay. Let me see. The hardest part about night shift and staying up all night to me. Ooh. It's just not part of like your normal routine. So like trying to convince your body to do something that like, it doesn't naturally do is just hard. Like even trying to convince your body to do something it doesn't naturally do is hard. Like I'm a night person. I'm a night owl, I like to say. I get like my energy in the night. But even myself, I have to sleep. So you get to a certain point where it's like, I don't have any more energy. And it's so quiet, like there's no one really to talk to. So you're just kind of like in your own thoughts.
Yeah, it is. I feel like this is something where, people just don't really take too serious to these kind of things because they're like, oh, parents, they're supposed to stay up all night or they're supposed to, do this and that to care for their kids. But like, it really minimizes how difficult it really is. And to do it like back-to-back nights or to do it on after covering a day shift and then a night shift, it's a lot. But to echo on what you said, I think the hardest part for me is that I'm already fatigued. I already don't sleep. And so in the hours that I'm supposed to be sleeping, I'm up. And it just triggers kind of this domino effect to where I even had to research it. And it was like, when you stay up all night, and all night is basically like kind of relative, but it takes your body 4 days to adjust back on schedule. And so when we have to do it multiple days back to back or multiple days in a week, it just prolongs it. And then it's like we're expected to focus and we're expected to like
Yeah.
plow through what we have to do. But as you can see, it's all worth it because look how much energy our baby has.
Right.
And look how.
And I also feel like someone was like, oh, well, that's parenting. Your child might wake up in the middle of the night and, parents don't get sleep. And I was like, it's so different from child waking up to child having things that she needs to have to function and to live properly. Like,
Yep.
She's got medicine we have to administer. She has her food. Some kids don't eat in the middle of the night. She eats every 4 hours.
Yeah.
And we've already noticed that there's certain medicine that she doesn't have, what it impacts her for days to come. So I think the stress of knowing that it's not just like, oh, she's up, let's play and get her back to sleep. It's like, no, we've got to care for her, and there's an hour by hour like schedule.
Yeah.
And so it's like kind of taxing mentally too. Like, oh, I have to do this now. I have to do this next. Like,
Yeah.
we're not just up there like watching her.
I mean, you said it on your IG story. It's like the max break that we get, even, I mean, during the day is a little different, but the max break we get at night might be an hour. There's literally something every hour. And I think...
She's rocking the camera with when I have it up there. Yeah.
I think, again, like, that's kind of, I get it. Parenting is waking up in the middle of the night. It's insensitive. And our whole kind of goal is to debunk all these things that people say and tell us that we can't have feelings towards. Like, we are justified in having these feelings. We're justified in being tired. But the one thing that, parents without medical kids can do is you can literally call in anybody. You can call in
That part.
your grandma, your sister. You can call in anybody to wake up in the middle of the night and rock the baby and feed the baby. We can't. It's us. Like, this is my team right here when there is no nurses. And so...
Yeah. So true. And I guess this is a segment about night nurses or just night care in general. So I guess the first part would be, why do we need night nurses and why do we have to watch Cali at night? Is because of this right here, her trach. So that's how she breathes. And we need to make sure her airway is clear. And if it gets plugged, it's like a little straw, guys. If it gets plugged, she cannot swallow like we can. She cannot cough up things clearly like we can. So we have to make sure her airway is always clear. And we have monitors on her to make sure she's breathing properly. So that's the main reason. So when we're watching her at night, like, our job is to keep her breathing.
Yeah.
You know, and make sure everything is like smooth on her end and she's not in distress.
Yeah.
And so we also have to be ready. We can't, like, if we want to take a little nap, we have to be ready that if alarm goes off, to go to action and emergency plan. Like, what is it that we need to do? Is her trach out? Is her G-tube out? Is she plugged? Like, what's going on? So we always have to be on standby and ready. So you can't let your guard down for too long.
Yeah.
And people always ask me, people always ask me, like, just the behind the scenes and talk about the emotional part to being a medical parent. So this is what you're getting.
This is as real as it gets right now. Like, this is where the reason why you guys haven't seen me a lot of the time. This is where I am 95% of the time is in the bed because of the stuff I deal with physically. And so, you know, to have to focus
On you for a second.
to have to focus on something for, you know, just think like the average kind of focus time, you know, people recommend is like 90 minutes. Now imagine having to like focus that in a time that your mind is supposed to be sleeping, your body's supposed to be recovering, because there's a lot that happens when you go to sleep in terms of everything that your body goes through, from a detox to just, that's when your body heals itself. And we're already moving past that period just to stay up to make sure, because when it comes down to it, regardless, yes, we could fall asleep for 40 minutes, but at that point, like, is it worth it? Like, it's not going to do anything.
Yeah.
And we just run the risk of potentially oversleeping and then missing something essential that Cali needs. And when it comes down to it, we were blessed with this life, and this is just what.
I can't see you. You just turn it so you can see you.
Oh, we were blessed with this life, and that's what happens. So
Yeah.
we are taking it in stride, but I do feel a way because, you know, I read this tweet, and I'll try to stop rambling, but I read this tweet from another disabled lady, and she was talking about the lack of resources for people in the disabled community, and how not only from a money standpoint there are no resources, but from a help and care standpoint, to where people who are so reliant on these things, and that people without medical conditions or concerns, you know, may take for granted. And so it's something where we are trying our hardest to bring light to, because of course we want to make change, we want to do what we can, but we're also living it, and we're also trying to do what we can do to, yeah, we're just trying to do what we can do. But I just felt so passionately about that was on my heart today, so I needed to speak on that.
Yes. And so we'll probably do some more segments, real and raw with the Johnsons, just talking about various topics so you can hear us in our life with this little one. I think we highlight so much of her life and her day to day, but you don't always get to hear about our journey and the behind the scenes to keeping this one smiling and thriving. So
it's hard, y'all, but be blessed, because we are motivated, we are dedicated, we are here to do whatever it is we need to do for her. So I love this little girl so much. She's my entire life, and you know, if that means staying up 3 out of 5 nights, you know, or 3 out of 7 nights in the week, so be it. We just gotta make it do what it do. And so if you are in the Seattle area and you know, or if you know anyone in the Seattle area, just let us know, because we would love to potentially expand our team.
yes.